The PROVA Pinnacle Shower Pan is a revolutionary multi-folding EPS pan that combines with other innovative PROVA products for effortless shower installations that are modular, watertight, reliable, and engineered to last a lifetime. In this video, we'll walk you through the entire assembly of a PROVA Pinnacle shower system, beginning from the pan itself all the way to the waterproofed walls. From inception to production, PROVA products are engineered with innovation and modularity in mind, making it possible to achieve limitless combinations of custom shower sizes and layouts. In this installation video, we'll focus on one such configuration: a 59 by 48 inch shower, including a curb, extensions, and waterproofed walls using PROVA Mat membrane and associated components. First, let's gather all the installation products, tools, and materials that we require. Starting with the pan system itself, it includes these components: the PROVA Pinnacle Shower Pan in either a 48 by 48 inch or a 38 by 60 inch configuration. We'll be installing the 48 inch pan and extending it with a PROVA Pinnacle extension kit. Also included with the system are a drain grate housing which integrates a ring and collar component, a stainless steel strainer, and a waterproofing membrane disc. Next, we'll need the following standalone PROVA products to waterproof and complete our system: a PROVA Pinnacle shower curb to cover the entryway. You can choose from 48 or 60 inch lengths. We'll be using a single 60 inch one. We'll also need a PROVA Pinnacle extension kit, which includes 2 additional pre-sloped pan sections for easily extending our pan. These innovative components replace the need for time-consuming, error-prone mud bed installations, and they guarantee an exact slope every time. As with the pan, both the curb and extensions have pre-bonded waterproofing, and the extensions have an overhanging membrane for overlapping with other components, taking all the guesswork out of ensuring a watertight seal. And lastly, we need waterproofing materials for the walls, which can either be PROVA Mat waterproofing membrane or PROVA board, which is our rigid XPS tile backer. Since we're using PROVA Mat for this installation, our waterproofing materials will include the membrane itself, inside and outside corners, pipe seal, and joint strip. And finally, the required tools and materials. We'll need the following: we're just about ready to begin the installation, but first it's critical that we prepare the shower substrate area to ensure it is clean, dry, flat, structurally sound, and level. And with that, the prep work is complete, and we have all that we need to build out our shower. It's time to get to work. Let's begin by marking the drain location on the substrate. Since this is a 59 by 48 inch system with a centrally located drain, the drain center point will be 29.5 inches from the sides and 24 inches from the top and bottom. By using the drain area of the pan as a template, we can mark a circle with a diameter of 4.5 inches. Now we'll create a pilot hole and cut out the substrate along the marking. We're going to use extra caution when cutting, as a hole that is too large will not properly support the recessed drain area on the pan. The drain pipe height required for the PROVA Pinnacle shower pan must be half an inch below the top of the wood or concrete substrate, so we'll measure it to make sure. If the drain pipe in the shower area is not 2 inches in diameter, it may be 1.5 inches, for example. We can use a collar or adapter to reduce the size of the connection between the drain and the drain pipe. Next, we're going to measure, cut, and dry fit all of our PROVA Pinnacle shower system components so they are positioned along the substrate where the drain will be installed. This is critical for seeing how everything will look before we mortar it in place. We'll also dry fit the drain and our 2 extension pieces at this time. Remember that extensions are optional and only applicable to the 48 by 48 inch PROVA Pinnacle shower pan. They are arranged along the pan's perimeter such that the slope is maintained from its outer edge to the drain. Extensions can be used to match any size or shower layout. For this system, we'll simply extend it on the left and right sides with the overhanging membrane adhered to the top of the pan. And now we're ready to set all the shower base components in place. Starting with the pan itself, we'll use our square notch trowel and thin set mortar to adhere it to the substrate. To ensure complete coverage, we'll trowel mortar on both the entire substrate and the back of the pan, followed by lifting one side of the pan to confirm the complete transfer of mortar to its underside. For installing the two extensions, we'll take the first one and spread mortar on the back of it. Then we'll use our V-notch trowel to spread mortar on one surface of the pan, where the overhanging membrane will be adhered. We can now set the first extension in place, ensuring it makes full contact with the surface of the pan and substrate. After cleaning any excess mortar, we'll move on to installing the second extension in the same way as we did with this one. If you're using more extensions beyond just one row like we are here, there are other steps to be mindful of. First off, always maintain a consistent slope throughout the shower system by installing 1/4-inch sections of PROVA board beneath the extensions. These will act as spacers to elevate additional extension rows. One piece will be required beneath each extension, starting from the second row, surrounding the pan and increasing by one layer for every subsequent row. Also, for all joints between extensions that don't have a piece of overhanging membrane, be sure to cover them with pieces of PROVA joint, cut to length. Apply mortar to the appropriate substrates using the V-notch trowel, and use the flat side of it to work PROVA joint into the mortar, taking care to eliminate air pockets. Clean any excess mortar. Back to the pan system, we're now going to set the drain in place by gluing it to the drain pipe with ABS cement. Be sure to use the appropriate cement based on whether you're installing an ABS or PVC drain. The drain is locked in place with a quick twist and seal motion. Simply drop the included stainless steel strainer into the drain assembly and tighten the drain in place with a 5/16" slotted screwdriver. To protect our installation thus far, we'll remove the stainless steel strainer and stuff a rag into the drain to prevent debris from falling in. The next step is to fully waterproof the system. Since the shower base components already include pre-bonded waterproofing membrane, it's mainly the walls we have to focus on. But before we begin, it's important to note that it's at this point that we have the option of whether to waterproof our system with PROVA Mat waterproofing membrane or PROVA board XPS tile backer. The choice is yours, but for this system, we'll be using PROVA Mat. First up, we're going to seal all the joints and corners in the shower. This includes the wall-to-wall and wall-to-floor connections and the two back corners of the system. If we were completing a tiled ceiling, we would also seal the wall-to-ceiling connections. Framing the system with waterproofing joint and corners first makes it much easier to then cover the walls with sections of waterproofing membrane. We'll apply thin-set mortar to the appropriate substrates using our V-notch trowel. With the flat side of the trowel, we'll work PROVA corner and PROVA joint into the mortar, taking care to eliminate air pockets. These steps will be repeated for each joint and corner to be waterproofed. Ensure that any meeting sections of the joints and corners overlap one another by a minimum of 2 inches. Finally, we'll treat any pipe protrusions with PROVA pipe seal, still using the very same trowel and methods to set it in place. Here we're cutting and adhering sections of PROVA Mat that are the appropriate dimensions for covering the walls. You would also cut and adhere waterproofing to your shower ceiling if you intend on tiling it. Notice that we're using the membrane's printed grid lines to assist with quickly measuring and cutting it into sections. PROVA Mat has intersecting points spaced every 1/2 inch and further markings for every 6-inch interval. With our V-notch trowel, we'll apply thin-set mortar to the first wall section to be waterproofed. Working from bottom to top, we'll set the cut sections of PROVA Mat into the mortar. As we did with the joints and corners, we'll eliminate all air pockets and remove excess mortar beneath the membrane by using the flat side of the trowel and applying pressure in the same direction in multiple passes. Finally, we'll confirm that the mortar has completely transferred to the underside of the membrane by peeling it back a little. These steps will be repeated for each additional wall section that requires waterproofing. Adjacent sections of PROVA Mat must overlap one another by at least 2 inches to confirm a waterproof seal. The unmarked area outside the grid lines will help us achieve this. Once the entire system is covered, we'll verify that all minimum overlaps have been achieved between sections of PROVA Mat and related waterproofing accessories. Our shower is nearly complete. We just need to install the final component, the PROVA Pinnacle Shower Curb. These curbs are made from the same EPS materials as the pan and extensions, so they can be measured and cut down to any size. For our 59-inch system, we'll simply use a single 60-inch curb to cover the entire entryway, so only one simple cut has to be made. Be sure to dry fit the curb to confirm its dimensions. For systems requiring multiple curbs, you can use combinations of 60 and 48-inch lengths. Just be sure to arrange them so that the cut edges are against the walls. With our square notch trowel, we'll spread thin set mortar to the substrate area in front of the pan system where the curb will be installed. Next, we'll fill the dovetail recess beneath the curb with mortar. And finally, we can press our curb into place. With our curb in place, there are now 2 outside corners and 2 additional inside corners and a joint that need to be treated. Using our V-notch trowel and thin set mortar, we'll adhere 2 inside PROVA corner products where the curb meets the pan and walls. And we'll also connect them with a piece of PROVA joint so that the inside edge where the curb meets the pan is sealed. As we did previously, we'll confirm that the joint strip overlaps the corners by a minimum of 2 inches. Finally, following the same steps as with the inside corners, we'll install 2 outside corners placed on either end of the curb to seal these areas. A curbed membrane system like this, without a waterproof sealing, contains a total of 4 inside corners and 2 outside corners. The final section that requires waterproofing is the joint between the drain body and the shower pan. We'll install the waterproof membrane disc for this, which covers the joint between the drain body and the shower pan. Using our V-notch trowel, we'll apply mortar to the surface of the drain body and waterproof membrane on the pan. Here we're pressing the membrane disc into the mortar and using a margin trowel to apply pressure in the same direction in multiple passes, eliminating all air pockets and removing excess mortar. It's important to check the underside of the membrane to ensure the complete transfer of mortar. The disc should smoothly cover the surfaces. Our PROVA shower system, installed with PROVA Pinnacle products, is now complete. We're just a few steps away from being able to tile the system. We'll let the entire shower assembly set and cure for 24 hours. Then we'll perform a water test on the installation to confirm the performance of the waterproofing membrane. The water test is successful, and now we're ready to complete the drain assembly and tile the shower floor. While tiling the shower floor, we'll also install our PROVA Pro Select point drain grate. First, we'll fasten the base of the grate to the drain grate housing, making sure we don't over-tight the included screws. Next, we'll thread the ring of the housing to the bottom of the collar, ensuring it faces the correct way for the thickness of tile being installed. Now we can dry fit the tile for the system and set the lateral position of the housing before adhering the ring in place with our thin set mortar. To line up the grate to the thickness of tile we're using, we can twist the collar of the drain to raise and lower the base of the drain grate. The full drain assembly is now complete, and the shower floor is ready to tile. As we use our mortar to install the tile, We'll also force it up under the base of the grate so that it is fully supported. Once all tiling and grouting are complete, it's time for the grand finale, dropping in our chosen Pro Select point drain grate. And there you have it, a custom watertight shower system installed using the PROVA Pinnacle Pan system and associated PROVA tile installation products.